And today, Jen arrived. She flew into Baltimore at like 1:40 this morning, and Trail Angel is giving her a ride over. She's gonna be with me for about a week. First coffee, then blondie. Yay! Nice jacket. And here we have Taters that came all the way from the West Coast to join me on the trail. Hi, Taters.
I'm almost ready to get hiking.
And at the crack of 11 o'clock, I had managed to get Taters out of bed and actually walking. She'll be talking in about 3 more hours. So Jen is finally here. Finally! It's been so long. Haven't seen her for like a week and a half.
Aww.
And she promptly got here, crawled into bed, and then wanted to like hide and fall asleep. Said she was really happy to see me and very sleepy.
I got here at like 4 a.m. my time.
Oh, 4 a.m. So she is here for her spring break. She leaves on Sunday. So we get like 8 days together. Unfortunately, once she leaves, then it's 2 months where we're apart. But then she's with me for like 9 weeks. So welcome to Team Taters life. So last night was a hike into Denton. We're now in Maryland. Delaware is behind us. And at least for the next day or two, we have decent weather, and then it's going to rain for like a week. The Trail Angel, who's been following us for a while, that gave Jen a ride from the airport, though, was nice enough to bring umbrellas for us, so we might need them. Hopefully the wind's not going much. Today's going to be a little funky. We have a actual ADT shelter built by some Boy Scout as an Eagle Scout project in about 10 miles. After which there is no beta on any sort of camping, no public land, so we might have to take a shorter day today. The big thing coming up is, of course, the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. We're 30 some miles away from it now, so that'll probably be Monday morning. We have a couple offers to get us across it. Since you can't walk it, there's literally no shoulder, so we have to get a ride to the other side. After that comes the exciting part, which is Washington, D.C., which I've never been through, and we get to go by all the monuments. And then we're on the C&O Trail for a while, which is supposed to be pretty cool. And I think there's waterfalls, at least one. Yeah. Little known fact, Taters here is actually a major celebrity. We had 2 people who stopped us because they saw the backpacks. They're like, "Are you backpacking?" And then told them what we're doing. They're like, "You're messing with us." And somebody else drove by, recognized us, and stopped and said hello. I do keep commenting that I would really like to go back and hike through Canada because you never had to worry about anybody finding you. Little Miss Sunshine was supposed to bring the sunshine, but instead the storms are just getting worse. And now the forecast is like rain for all of eternity, which in trail terms is about a week. So it's still relatively early in the afternoon. However, this is kind of a unique thing in that somebody actually built a American Discovery Trail shelter here, some Boy Scout. So this is the last confirmed camping for another 21 miles or so. We're not making 21 miles today. We're gonna go take a look at the shelter and then kind of decide what we're doing. I have been looking ahead, and there's no more of these state forest public land tracks that I can see. There's no other beta about anybody stealth camping. It's just a lot of nothing, which seems to be farmland and houses based on what we have been doing. All we need is some forests like that to find something that'll work, but some of them are too clear, so we wouldn't be hidden. sometimes they're too thin and you're visible from houses. It's kind of the most stressful part of this whole thing. So we're gonna at least go look at the shelter and then see how wimpy we're feeling for today. And here we are. Truly, this is the East Coast, Jen. Now all we need are some ticks. I hear you like ticks. Call them hug bugs. Jen, stop talking so much. You have been chatting nonstop. People have been waiting for you to get here, and you've said like 2 words. My gosh! Taters laid down, and her motivation to go any further seems to have drained out of her a bit.
I'm being nice to you. You wanted to rest your feet.
Also, shelters like this, like we were spoiled by Minnesota because this needs about 8 million ticks, a turtle, some mosquitoes.
Oh, the turtle, that was hilarious.
And the ticks, don't forget. So this is not the norm on this trail. It's actually kind of unique. I was originally thinking of staying here. It makes sense if you come straight from the Maryland border, but since I came from Denton, this has only been 10 miles. It's raining on us off and on, and we don't have a confident camp spot up ahead. There's some private property we may be able to stealth on. So we've been sitting here debating it, but my feet have taken a beating over the last 60 some miles. The pavement's always really rough on them, and I don't have the toughest feet to begin with. And I melted off all my calluses in Socorro. So I think we're going to take the 10-mile day, stay here tonight, and then tomorrow we can hopefully get a full day in, set up for the bridge. The next day we'll do a few more miles. We have somebody to give us a ride over the bridge, and then we have a clear run at DC. I did get warned by somebody up ahead that this next section is kind of hotel heavy, more than they expected. But as long as they're relatively cheap hotels, I mind the hotels more when they're 300 something. I would always prefer to be camping in something like the first night. That was pretty much perfect, you know, out in that state forest land. But I just keep telling myself, further I get, the wilder I will get. The other guy out here, Leif, was setting up his tent a couple of times just in people's fields, but I'm not comfortable doing that. I've had not so great experiences, and I've seen things like on the ECT where that guy got the 2x4 thrown through his tent. And it just kind of, and Jen agrees with this, it makes us feel like we're not being good trail stewards if we're doing things that might trigger folks, especially seeing how people seem to be sensitive to homeless folks setting up encampments around here. The most similar thing I have done to this is, of course, the ECT as far as the pavement and everything. And I had a hell of a time on that, just with my feet getting so beat up, bruised, blistered. I had to get off trail and take zeros to get them to heal. So I'm trying to avoid that. And at the same time, I have this weird like psychosis where I want to be making miles. I don't want to do like a 10-mile day. And that one rainy day, I only got like, 5.5 miles. So I have 2 days that are in the 20s, one that's a 10 and one that's a 5 something. So the hardest part for me is usually just trying to remember that I'm playing the long game here and kind of ease into it. Also, obviously, we have a bit of a time limit in that Jen is only with me until next Sunday, so we only have 8 or so days, and we want to try and get as far as we can. We had kind of been thinking that maybe we could make Harper's Ferry. That was our stretch goal. It'll probably be somewhere on the C&O Canal is more likely at this point. It doesn't really matter where we are. We have another nice person who's going to come and get her to the airport, so they can meet us wherever. But I want her to see as much pretty stuff as possible. These last 10 miles on the road were kind of like the day before, not the best. And of course, the other part of this is the rain forecast has gotten pretty dire looking. We have at least one day of over an inch of rain, which usually makes hiking pretty miserable and unproductive. The rain gear starts getting soaked, all of that. And the other days are kind of a mixed bag, and the trend has been getting worse and worse. But tomorrow, at least, it's looking like we'll probably be in a hotel. Again, not my favorite, but it means that it doesn't matter as much if we get soaking wet. It's easier to recover from that. Plus side of the shelter is we also have pretty easy access to a bathroom and water and all those things. Okay, that I'm kind of curious about. Oh no, a homeless hobo has set up camp. A sleepy homeless hobo with bad pants.
If you're wondering why my pants look quite so old and well used, that is all just from the Mississippi trip. They were bright orange at the beginning of that, and that is the most sun exposure I've ever dealt with at one time in my life.
I'm 19. This happened on the Mississippi. I was fresh-faced.
It destroyed all of our stuff, not our bodies, since we used our clothes to protect us. There is the issue going through town. Looks a little bit less put together than if they were new and bright orange.
Oh yes, look at the colors.
For my first night out here, we're taking advantage of what we think is the only shelter along the ADT, and it's bringing back all kinds of fond memories of a few spring breaks ago when I joined Matt in Alabama, and that was the very first time we had ever stayed in a shelter together on the Pinhoti Trail. And we're making our usual trail dinner, rice and beans.
Are you talking about that shelter where when the sun came up, the wasps got out?
Oh yeah, there were some wasps, but the
I
evening...
how you missed just like forget that part.
You're right, I really didn't remember that until you mentioned it, but I really remember the evening looking out at the water and how serene and peaceful it was.
It was bitterly cold. We'd broken our wine.
The wine fiasco. Oh, good times. And this place is also very serene and peaceful and should be a really nice night. Home sweet home for the night.
Beans and rice I've had this entire time. That I'm not that excited about, but Tillamook Black Label, oh yeah.